Today we're talking about something that not a lot of folks really talk about. So, with zone focusing, there's sort of two different types. And I don't think I necessarily want to call them types, but there are two major important differences. When it comes to zone focusing, especially for like street photographers or landscape shooters or anything else like that, you would typically look at a lens and try to figure out how much is in focus at a certain distance away from you and aperture and all that kind of stuff. But the way that they read are a little bit more complicated based on whether or not the lens is designed primarily for autofocus, like they were with Fujifilm, versus Leica, where they're primarily designed for manual focus, at least with Leica M. So we're going to take a look at the two differences, and I'm going to show you how to read them accordingly. Well, here we have a Leica lens. Well, it's actually a 7 Artisans lens that is designed for Leica M mounts. And the way that you focus is basically we are set to f1.4, and then f1.4 is down here. So at 5 feet, this much is all that's going to be in focus. We're just looking at that. Now when I stop it down to f2.8, that's the area that you look at. Only that much is in focus. So basically when I look at this, that's 5 feet away. 2.8 would be almost 4 feet to like maybe 7-ish feet. There it is, actually stopped down to 2.8 now. Now if I focus down to 5.6, even more becomes in focus. So now you look at that scale. So now, when you're mainly focused at 5 feet away, more or less anything between 8 feet and 4 feet is going to be in focus. And now when I stop down to f8, a little bit more than that. And when you stop down at f16, even more than that. And that's how you'd read it with a manual focus lens. Zone focusing with a lens that's primarily designed for autofocus is much different. Here we have the Fujifilm 23mm f1.4 lens. And up here, you have a depth of field scale. So in order to set this to manual focus, you just pull back the lens like that. Now meters are in white and feet are in red-ish, sort of, so we're going to use that. So right here, at f1.4, very little will be in focus. But if I stop it down f4, then that much is going to be in focus. And you can't really tell very much is in focus because, well, this lens was primarily designed for autofocus first, and because of that, there's a shorter focus throw instead of the longer focus throw that you find with Leica M mount lenses or something like that. Because you just have to be able to autofocus faster. So that's one of the compromises that they make. Now, when I keep focusing to, let's say, 2.5 feet away, 2.5 feet away, at f4, you still don't really see much. You just have to sit there and say, okay, well, if a foot is that far away and 2.5 feet is that far away, and the next one is 8 feet, what do? You probably focus down a little bit more. So you go to f8 or so, which is almost f11 in terms of depth of field focusing equivalency with full frame. But now you would just look at that section and you'd say, okay, so I'm focused that far away. 2.5 feet is not a whole lot at all for street photography. But if you focus down 8 feet, then you start to say to yourself, okay, cool. So I'm at f8, 8 feet. I have a meter there, meter marker there. So 5 meters is like 15 feet. So at that end, you'll be 15 feet to, that's about 2.5 feet over there. So we can guesstimate that maybe it's going to be like 4 feet. So anywhere from 4 feet to like 15 feet will be in focus. And that's where it becomes a lot more difficult to read a lens like this. And it's not just the 23 for Fujifilm. It's also the case with the 16. So let's take a look at this. So here's the 16. This is actually one of the lenses that I use the most because of the weather sealing and a couple other reasons. So at f4, we're going to pull this back. And once again, red is feet, white is meters. So we're going to go to the first feet reading. So it's under a foot there. So very little is in focus. That's cool for like macro shooters. And that's a foot there. And then that's half a meter there. So that's 1 foot to like 1.5 feet there. And then you have 2.5 meters. So that's like 8-ish, 8.5 feet, or something like that. And you have there 1 meter. Actually, no, that makes no sense. Oh, 2.5 feet. Yes, I'm sorry. I'm sitting here thinking to myself. So 2.5 feet to 1 meter. 1 meter is like 3 feet, so 2.5 feet. So at f4, you have around that much in focus. So that's a little bit easier to read there. And then if you wanted to stop that down, let's say the next big indicator is f8. So now you have a meter to like, so it's in between 2.5 feet and half a meter. So that's how you'd sit there and figure that out. I really don't like doing all the calculations, but basically it requires you to know how to read both meters and feet, and it gets really difficult sometimes. So let us know what you think is the best. Do you like the autofocus options, or do you like the manual focus options that are a lot more precise? Let us know. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks. Take care.